I'm ready to go in and begin exploring the timing of my animation. Before we can start plotting down the duration, the speed, we need to have a real good vision of what it is that we're expecting to produce and animate inside of our scene itself. If we can't see it in our imagination here, it's never going to show up on the screen or in our drawings. So I think we need to spend a couple moments just conceptualizing what this movement's going to look like. Now, in my imagination, I want to create the illusion that this arrow is being pulled back and then being fired from the bow itself. Creating an extreme pose where the arms of the bow bend way back is going to create a great sense of flexibility and energy when the arrow takes off. That's a good place to begin. So we're going to stretch the bow back, and then we're going to release the arrow, and then the arrow is going to fly out of the front of the bow and then land somewhere off screen in an arced movement. So with that in mind, the pull back, pause, fire, we have a good framework for what it is that we're trying to produce. That concept is important before we begin any animation. Animation is a process where you don't get anything for free. Let's put it that way, okay? We have to create everything. The computer is not going to automatically animate any of this stuff. So we need to go in and figure out what it is that we're expecting our animation to be up here first before it's going to appear on the screen itself. Let's explore the timing of that concept. And like all good animators, I'm going to work with a timing chart. Initially, let's build our own animation layer, uncreatively called timing chart. And I totally misspelled that. There we go, timing chart. And let's select our object. And I'm just going to do a good little double check, make sure that all the other animation layers are locked so I know with confidence I'm only going to affect the timing chart itself. Now visually, I like to place the timing charts underneath the object that I'm timing out. You can have multiple timing charts inside of your scene at the exact same time. That's totally cool, and it's a great way of working. But having the timing chart generally close is going to allow me to understand the movements and the speed of those movements. Okay. I always have my timing charts go from the left to the right, so it mirrors the timeline down here at the bottom. Even though the movement is going to be one where the bow stretches backwards, I want the representation of time to be going forwards. It's just a little bit easier for me to consume and manage all of this information. As one might imagine, if we go into the draw mode, I think I'm just going to use a nice line to start us off. Let's make it a nice big straight line, something like that. Yes, I'm happy with that. It's a good place to begin. Now I don't know what the timing of this is going to be. I know I'm going to have a first frame. I know I'm going to have an end frame. But where do I want that extreme pose? Where do I want that pose where the bow is completely exaggerated and bent back to be in time? How long is this movement going to be? Let's explore that for a second. In my imagination, I'm going, whoosh, whoosh. Let's just see what it looks like at 10 frames. So to start us off, on our first frame, I'm going to create an additional vertical bar here. That's going to represent the playhead marker itself. Okay, so on the first frame, of course, our vertical marker, this guy, is going to be way over here. And then let's go forward to frame 10. And I'm just going to put my playhead, my sequence end frame to frame 45. And I'm going to zoom in so we can see what's going on here. There we go. Okay, let's move my playhead to frame 10 and jump over into edit mode. In edit mode, I can very quickly grab and select that stroke. You know what I'm going to do, and I apologize. I'm going to return to frame 1. I'm going to increase the radius on both of these strokes just so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see what's going on. Yeah, there we go. Let's return to the box selection tool and advance my playhead back to frame 10. So with my first vertical ruler selected, I'm going to move it. And the G key, of course, is going to allow us to grab that object. Here's a great little shortcut. If you want to grab it and then move it along the x-axis exclusively, that's called constraining it. Fire off the grab tool, and then before you drop it, hit the X key. A red line will appear, which will lock that movement to an axis. Okay, so I know that maybe right about in here is when I want to have, a good representation of time. So this one right here is going to represent the extreme pose. And shoot, I could even go in draw mode. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into my pen tool, and I'm just going to draw a little E in there. There we go. Let's go back into edit mode. So this is going to be the extreme pose. Now, is this timed out correctly? Let's play it. We don't know the answers to these questions until we play the animation itself. Animation requires a visual feeling, a visual connection with speed. We're not going to get that exclusively just by looking at the diamonds in our timeline. We got to play it. So let's play it. It's a little short, and you got to do the sound effects, right? I'm going to bump this keyframe up. I'm going to move it to frame 20 inside of my timeline. So in my imagination, I'm going, whoosh, whoosh. Yep, that's about right. Cool. Now, do I want to hold that pose? Do I want to hold it, stretch, and then let go? Yeah, I do. So I'm going to hold that keyframe for, I don't know, a beat or so. Let's go to frame 28 now. And I'm going to copy that keyframe and duplicate it across inside of my timeline. And there's a couple ways you can do this. Of course, you can just select the keyframe. Now notice that my cursor is down here in the timeline. If I do a Control-C or Command-C to copy the keyframe, I then can go back to that animation layer, again, cursor down here, and paste it in. The timeline and the viewport are going to always remember and notice where your cursor is, and the behavior of these elements, or the behavior of these commands, is dependent on the location of your cursor. So now I've just basically duplicated this frame of animation across two different timelines, which is pretty cool, because now what I can do is start figuring out, so we're going to hold that drawing for 8 frames, and then I need to figure out when it's going to go, when it's going to conclude, excuse me. So it takes 20 frames for us to do the pullback. We hold for 8 frames, and then we let go. How long is that bong going to be? Bong is going to go fast. It's going to go maybe 3 times as fast as the windup. If the pullback was 20 frames, maybe the release is 6 frames. Let's just give it a go here. And I don't know. I'm going to move my playhead to frame 34. Grab my vertical line that represents my playhead, grab it, X key, let's put it over here. All right, let's see what we got. Let's play the animation. Wong, poof, whoosh, bong, whoosh, bong, whoosh, bong. Yeah, I'm liking that. We probably could even make it go a little bit faster. Instead of 6 frames, let's do 5 frames. I know it seems silly, but 1 frame actually does make a huge difference in our understanding of time. Let's play the animation again. Whoosh, bong, whoosh, bong. Yeah, I'm actually going to push it the other direction. This is the process of exploration. I moved it back 1 frame, and I'm not liking it. But what happens if I move it forward 2 frames now? Let's experiment and explore. At times, we just need to go in and be free to move these keyframes around. There's nothing that's locking them in place. This is why we do the timing chart, to explore our sense of timing, to allow us to experiment and to make mistakes and kind of stumble through this process. And believe it or not, that's how all the professional animators do it. There is no magic shortcut that gets you to our understanding of timing. We block it out with simple shapes like we've done here. We throw down some keyframes, we hit the play button, and we see what we get. Whoosh, bong, whoosh, bong, whoosh, bong. Yep, I'm loving it. That works for me. That small little tweak to the timing has really started to produce an understanding in my mind of what the movement's going to be. I can feel the animation in my imagination. I can see it unfolding in the screen in front of me, and I'm very, very pleased with the result that we have so far. Okay. So there's my timing chart. These are my extreme poses, okay? This is, if I wanted to, I could then go in and start plotting out all of the in-betweens and getting a really good understanding of where the speed is going to be the fastest and where it's going to be the slowest. So if you think about the exploration of timing, we're kind of taking gigantic steps inward to the final result. we paint with a real broad brushstroke like I've just done right here. Figure out the overall timing, the complete duration of the key poses inside the animation. Once I'm happy with that, we take one step in, boom, and now we can start figuring out some of the in-betweens, the timings of the in-betweens, and the spacing of the animation frames themselves. So I know that it's going to be a slow movement at the beginning, slow, then we're going to jerk it back, and we're going to hold it. So on frames, let's see, since we're going to frame 20 here, I know that I want to have maybe, let's do this. Let's have 8 frames of easing, and I'm going to grab my playheads on frame 8, grab my stroke, fire off the grab tool, hit the X key, and I'm going to place it maybe right there. That's going to be my visual representation of how far, or how fast, excuse me, this animation is going to be, or the initial easing out of the bow string is going to be. So let's play it again. Yeah, let's do it again. Let's bisect it. I'm going to go to frame 4, or 5, excuse me, just kind of in the middle. Grab it, exit, right about in here. And if you really wanted to, you certainly could go in and do every single frame. Something like this. Grab X. Here's frame 4, grab X. Maybe like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what it looks like now. Poof. Poof. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm liking it. I think I'm going to continue to explore the timing of it. I think I like having all of these animation frames where they are. However, I'm concerned that maybe the spacing and the timing of it is not exactly what we want. So I'm going to go in with my box selection tool, grab all of these keyframes, and with my playhead at the beginning of frame 2 here, I'm going to fire off the scale command. The S key allows me to just very smoothly and uniformly adjust the spacing of this. And I went too far. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to hold down the shift key to give me a little bit more granular control. And the scale tool is going to evenly space all our keyframes across our timeline. It's going to make a wide sweeping adjustment. Yeah, I'm liking it. That's a good place to be at. Excuse me. Now, one of the things I'm noticing as I play this animation is that that maybe my sense of speed was off at the beginning. It's going to be slow and then real fast, right? I've selected the keyframes that represent the extreme pose. So on this frame of the animation, this one, all of this stuff going forward. And I'm going to move them back just a couple frames. Just 2 frames. Let's see what that impact has on the timing of our animation. Yeah, so now we're slowing, and then we jerk it open, and then let go. Oof. Oof. And if you're not acting these movements out as you create them, you're doing yourself a great disservice. Don't worry, no one's gonna laugh at you at your desk. This is part of the animation process. Sometimes we have to feel the movements before we really understand their representation in speed and in time. Yeah, I'm cool with this. This is gonna be really neat. Now, I think in the big macro view here, the other thing that I need to consider and think about is is there going to be any sort of movement afterwards? When do I want my arrow to go? Now, I could do my own timing chart for the arrow itself, but this is just a timing chart for the bow. And I'm pretty pleased with the results that we've created so far. Within a couple minutes, I've figured out all the big questions to this animation, and now I know the underlying structure of the drawings that I'm going to need to create, and the placement of where those drawings are going to go in our timeline. So these timing charts are absolutely critical. It allows us the flexibility to explore, experiment, make mistakes, and find solutions to some very complex timing problems.